The sun is out, the cars are on track. We have practice in St. Louis. Welcome to the NTT INDYCAR Series here on FS1, live from World Wide Technology Raceway, better known as Gateway. It is still cloudy, but we do have blue skies. More importantly, we have a dry track and we have cars on track. Will Buxton, James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell with you as always. Guys, it is great to see cars on track. It is lovely to be at an oval.
Indeed, and especially this oval because it's such a unique format. Two completely different corners at each end of the racetrack. Right here is the drivers fire down into turns 1 and 2. A much tighter radius, high banking. You want to arc down to a very late apex. And then, James, it really opens up at the other end of the track. It races a lot more like Indianapolis at the other end.
Yeah, it does. Very flat, much wider radius there in 3 and 4. And that's what makes this place so challenging, guys. As you look at Indy, and we spent a lot of time over the month of May talking about how, yes, 4 corners, geometrically they're identical, but they drive very differently. Here, geometrically very different, and so that requires a different setup for it to feel perfect at either end. You can't have it both ways, so the real trick here is making sure you've got a car that's decently balanced at both ends, because it's never going to be well balanced at both.
Speaking of bounce backs, this guy Alexander Rossi bounced right off the back of Will Power last year on that wild final restart attempt, or second to last restart attempt that caused the red flag. But prior to that, he's had some good runs, 2 top 5s here in 9 starts at World Wide Technology Park. And I just feel like the momentum was looking so good for Rossi until that highly unfortunate fire at Indianapolis really kind of threw him off his game. He was having such a great race. The car looked strong. It would not surprise me at all, James, if this, like a Penske rebound, could be a really strong rebound weekend for Rossi.
Yeah, I know he likes this racetrack, and as you say, T-Bell, that run they had going at the 500, that thing was rolling, and you know, had they not had that fire, I think they would have been right there in that mix with Ericsson, with Palou, with Hunter Ray there at the end of the 500. And this is a track he likes. Like I said, it has run well here, so it'll be a great weekend to kind of kickstart the campaign a little bit.
Looks like maybe a little bit of qual sim coming up here as Rossi falls off the back of Connor Daly to give himself room to try to spin it up and lay down a flyer right here. So 47 minutes left in the session, and you go straight to qualifying from Hill.
We have one practice session as we ride on board with Alexander Rossi in replay here. Moment. Wow, coming through 3-4.
That was not a fun moment. Keeps his foot in it, though. Maybe he even got down to the curb, T-Bell. You think he touched it?
I thought so. You know, I was running the track Thursday night on iRacing at home on the simulator, and boy, you can use the left front quite easily there and get away with it. I wonder if the left front of Rossi's either got to the white line or on the curb.
Yeah,
certainly on both. And
you got to remember, we just had a bunch of rain.
Yeah,
and you know, they dry the track. They do a very good job at it, but it's not impossible that maybe a little bit of moisture is still sitting on the paint. I mean, we talk like that on road courses all the time.
And Josef Newgarden not trying to really get out of his way either.
No.
Newgarden sending a really strong message here early. Listen, this is my private playground, and you're invited.
You're welcome
to kind of come hang out. But yeah, I'm going to do my thing this weekend. Huge chance, like Kevin Lee mentioned earlier, for this guy right here to completely revolutionize his series, his season, and get back to his winning ways. If it's going to happen, it'll happen tomorrow night.
The spin and win last year, that moment off of turn 2, got sideways, caused a yellow that actually ended up helping him out at the end of the day, but just unbelievably successful here at this racetrack. Not many people have a record at any place like Josef has here at Gateway.
Corners like a road course as we get a replay of Malukas, and is that Lundgaard?
Lundgaard, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit fighty for some track position on an outlap. Now, what's interesting here is that move is not allowed in the race. You are not allowed to put any tires below that white line on the back straight in race conditions. If you're forced down there, it's one thing, but just driving down there will not be looked at lightly by race control.
I think he was forced down there. When he popped up, Malukas faded. And listen, in practice, you're going to
give yourself practice.
Exactly. You're going to give yourself a little extra measure, but I think we're going to see that in the race because guys try to follow the draft in front of them. They bob and weave, and then a trailing car making a move sometimes going to elect to go there. So I don't know how aggressively that's going to get officiated this weekend based on how this place normally races, but we'll see.
We take a look at some of the HRC technicians, engineers there. This is in the Palou pit.
And those were faces that demonstrated some measure of concern there. The three Honda techs working on something.
Trying to get a look at what they're holding there.
They clearly don't want us to see as it's covered up. And
Palou sits patiently in the car. You see the engine cover just resting on the back of the car, not done up.
But listen, 22 minutes left. Next time you're out, it's going to be qualifying. You're coming off a race event at Detroit where Palou was clobbered from behind there by David Malukas on the restart. So too early to panic, but these are two back-to-back totally different issues right at a point where Alex Palou's got to be thinking, man, we have a really big lead still, but we can't have little things like this happen.
He's right on board now with Colton Herta in the Gamebridge Honda for Andretti Global. He's had some great runs here in the past as well. He had a win on the cards a few years ago before a mechanical issue late in the race took him out of contention.
But had a huge moment here last year in qualifying, lost it in turn one, just barely grazed the outside wall, but he went in with fierce determination to try to stick it on pole. As a team, though, you know, Andretti comes here, I think, definitely on the back foot compared to Team Penske. Completely the inverse of when they show up on the street circuits these days at Long Beach or Detroit. Utterly dominant cars there.
And this has not been traditionally a happy hunting ground for the Andretti team. No wins, only one podium in their history. 10 DNFs they've had around this place. I mean, Michael won it back in the day when kart raced here back in '99, but the team itself, Andretti, have not had a very happy time of it.
Let's listen to some radio from Graham Rahal.
I still feel like very low grip for me. Right rear struggling, but also just understeer just feels very low grip. Try that right rear shock.
Yeah, not terribly unexpected. It's the first practice. We had a pretty heavy rainfall this morning, so the track would be kind of green. That's just, you know, low grip, not a lot of that Firestone rubber down into the track yet. But Graham not happy with the balance out of the box. We've seen a lot of cars with little moments, little wiggles. The front axle's not too strong, the rear axle's not too strong. So I think a lot of drivers kind of just trying to get to grips with the racetrack right now.
We saw Honda over there a little bit earlier today. All things good from Palou. I just checked in with Barry Wanzo. He said they did have to change a part on the car. Car wasn't willing to give up what that part was, but he did say all things are good for Alex Palou with 14 minutes left to go.
Music to the ears of the championship leader.
And Ferrucci's down in 21st at the moment. His teammate Malukas third fastest, as we get a look at David Malukas in the number 4.
And that doesn't seem right.
No.
That Ferrucci is that far down. Like you said, with his teammate and with Team Penske, so dominant here, and the partnership between the two race teams to share information, to share setups. So if Ferrucci is doing a qual sim, better hurry up and get it in now with 2 minutes to go.
He's 4.6 miles an hour off his teammate.
Listen here.
This thing's terrible. It's just taking off at the apex to 1, and it's super loose in 3/4. Yeah, copy.
So this is kind of what I was talking about. That's the general balance issue you have at each end of this racetrack. You're battling understeer mid-corner to exit, you know, through 1 off 2, and then you're just so nervous on a knife edge through 3 and 4. And if you're just low on grip, both of those issues are going to be exaggerated at either end of the racetrack. And that sounds like what Santino's battling right now. This is a guy that we know is comfortable being uncomfortable on an oval. So is there a vibration? I'm just looking at that steering wheel. It looks like the thing's vibrating a bit.
It certainly does. And this is right here is where he talks about the front end taking off. And you can hear how long he's out of the throttle. Turns 3 and 4, I always thought that this was aero balance down here, was kind of how I looked at it. Mechanical at the under end of the track, meaning you've got to get your springs, geometry, everything working for 1 and 2, and then you're going to fix any imbalance with wing at the other end, and then use your tools sort of in between. But for Ferrucci, This should be a track where he is right up with his teammate, right up with Team Penske drivers, and it is miserably uncomfortable across the middle, and he will wisely come to pit lane. This is kind of situation now, guys. You got 2 hours. You got to do things like roll your car on to another setup pad. Check everything. Check it twice. Try to figure out there's something that's got to be fundamentally wrong here. It can't be that far out of the window.
It's so tough, though, because, look, he's got 1 lap left, 30 seconds on the clock. He's not leaving this session happy or comfortable. And the next time he's going to go around here, it's 10 tenths as fast as you can go in qualifying. It's a terrible feeling when you end a session like this with such an unhappy balance in the race car.
And that is it. The session is done. Josef Newgarden is the fastest man, 178.243 miles an hour from his teammate Scott McLaughlin, and David Malukas third fastest. Then it is Alex Palou, Pato O'Ward, Colton Herta, Marcus Ericsson, Connor Daly up there in the top 10 with Kirkwood and Rossi completing the 10.
And one of the challenges now is, yeah, you're going to be going back to the garage. You got to think about what to do for qualifying, but you're also already discussing what you're going to do in the final practice to get that race car ready for tomorrow night. So it's a busy time for the drivers and for the engineers and mechanics right now.
Unless you're one of these 3 cars, Josef Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, or David Malukas, the orders from the stand are probably little wax, little buff, maybe an Evian spritz, and get the car ready to roll back out because we are good.
Well, what a signal of intent from Josef Newgarden. Literally calling it a day with 10 minutes to go in the session. Looks like a sign of confidence. Let's hear how confident he is. He's standing by with Georgia.
Well, a sign of confidence, and in that he did his fastest lap on lap 7, only 14 laps completed. So he picked up right where you left off here at World Wide Technology Raceway. How was your car?
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, it's going to get close. It already is here towards the end of the session. You see how tight it becomes. You'll get the same thing in qualifying and in the race too. I think we'll have a tight battle with a lot of people. It's just, you know, hard. Everyone says this, but it's hard to win these days with how good the competition is. So, you know, we're working hard for it. Excited to be here with the BBG car. Team Chevy's done a great job. So let's get through qualifying first and see what we got tomorrow night.
We know how close qualifying is, especially this year with the NTT IndyCar Series. Do you have the speed for pole?
Yeah, we definitely have the speed. It's just, you know, there's no guarantees. You got to execute. So we'll try and get it done.
Thanks, Joseph.